Please a round of applause for Dr. Ulrich Eichhorn as he comes forward for his presentation.
Honorable Minister, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to stand here and to talk about how we want to put some of the things that we all talked about today and yesterday, how we put that into reality. I have brought you a presentation. Can you please switch on to the presentation? GeoScan, that's the company that I founded together with the young gentleman in the foreground here. And we have come with, he is the CEO of our German company. I'm the group CEO. We have our chairman, we have our joint venture partner here, and we also have here the CEO of our Nigerian company. So we are totally committed to Africa and to Nigeria. And Honorable Minister, we've seen you several times over that. And I'm delighted that you not only recognized us, but that we can be here today and talk about some of those things. But let's go back to the real problem. Can I have the next slide, please? Clicker not working, please click. State-of-the-art exploration. And the real line here is how to turn the riches underground into wealth above ground.
This forward, this backward, this forward, this backward.
Okay. So Africa, as everyone knows, Africa is very rich in ground resources. And the key to unlocking those riches is to start where to seek. So the start of any value chain is knowing where the resource is. Just a few examples here. There could be many more, but you would not see the continent from all the symbols if I did that. The real question here is, yet the riches underground are not reflected in the wealth of the people and nations above ground. So once more, there is no production without exploration. So first of all, we need to explore, we need to know where the things are. Now, most African countries are still underexplored. That may sound strange after hundreds of years sometimes of exploration, yet the chief of a different country that is considered to be very mineral rich told me in confidence, so that I cannot say which country that is, that less than 4% of the country are explored in a useful manner, in a manner that would allow from there to go into development and into mining. Now, Africa, as you rightly said, is the largest of all continents, which is good because it offers a lot of space, it offers a lot of people, it offers a lot of other things, but makes the exploration very difficult. I come from a very small country, Germany, which has no ground resources to speak of. So exploration with us was easy. There were a few things, these have long been exploited, and that's that. But the traditional exploration just does not really work for Africa. We've seen in hundreds of years of exploration, it has only produced, say, 4%. And often, license holders cannot afford the long drawn-out sampling or drilling campaigns, are unable to obtain the funding even if they do, and they often run out of funds before the mining can commence or produce any real profits. Now here comes GeoScan. We use satellite images, analytics of those, and driven by AI, but not only by AI, but also by human intelligence. And I can tell you, the question came up a few sessions ago about the ingenuity of the people. We employ Nigerians, not only in our Nigerian company, but we also have half our team back in Germany is from Africa. So, and that is not only geologists, that's data scientists and everyone else. And they often put me in my place when I talk about things that they know better. So we can do here, we can scan large areas We can go to much greater depths than the conventional methods. We actually can go down to 10,000 meters, which is useless in most applications, but for oil and gas actually it sometimes makes sense. Here, when we're talking about solid minerals, we're typically exploring down to 500 meters in the hope of finding material that's worth mining down to about 200 meters. And we can do this in much less time. We can do it much more quickly, and I'll come to some examples in a moment. I'll go a bit quickly over these. Just I mentioned the cost and time efficiency. We can do all sorts of minerals, and we can do oil and gas. Actually, we came from oil and gas. We can also do water, that is sometimes in demand. And we have global reach, so we have a multitude of projects all over the world. You see the dots are somehow piling up over Africa, because that is the place where we currently concentrate on the most. You can also see that some of them are offshore. We do oil projects offshore, and onshore we do both oil and minerals. Our method, as we work from satellite images only, and I'll explain that in one of the next slides, it's non-invasive. It is without any environmental or climate footprint. We can do large areas because of that, and we don't even have to go there in most cases. And of course, it's cost-effective and very targeted. Now this is trying on one page an algorithm that actually was developed over many decades, and we've just reprogrammed it all using the latest technologies. The basic principle is that the core of the Earth, many thousand kilometers down, is so hot and so dense that it radiates, that emits a wide spectrum of radiation waves of all sources, seismic, electromagnetic, whatever you want to call it. As these travel through the Earth, they finally hit the crust. And keep in mind, the Earth's crust is much thinner relative to the size of the Earth than the shell of an egg is relative to the size of an egg. But as they go through there, they get modified by whatever they hit. And you can imagine that those, let's say, just say waves, travel differently through solid rock than they travel through sand or through oil or gas. And they create a variety of well-known physical principles, refraction, diffraction, damping, etc., which over time, over the very long time, leave subtle patterns, structures on the surface of the Earth. These are characteristic for what those waves went through. These are typically not visible to the human eye, but they are visible to our algorithms, and we read them from satellite images. We create the GeoScan matrix that's in the middle of the page here. We always work in 3D. We work in native 3D with our AI algorithms. And then we can create whatever we want. So we then have a block, the 3D matrix, and we can cut that any way. We cut it horizontally to get maps. We can cut it vertically to get 2D sections. We can even go just in one place, which gives us the virtual drill hole or virtual well, if it's oil or gas. So we can recreate whatever seismic can create, and the picture that you see there with these blue blobs on them, these are actually our own hydrocarbon markers. This is an oil and gas example. So they denote oil or gas in this case. We also do the more standard spectral. We're now going into multispectral, hyperspectral, and we work both in the visible light and in the invisible light, and we work infrared and also thermal, so far infrared, and we use all this to focus in, to zoom in onto the resources. And in the end, we get to a 3D ore body. I'll show you an animation in a moment, but the 3D ore body always is good for an audience like us here, but the geologists want to know where to drill and how deep they have to drill, and the chief financial officer wants to know which equipment to buy or how much money to put aside for the drilling campaign. We typically reduce the drilling that needs to be done, and the drilling only needs to be done for the confirmation and to get bankable reports out of that. So he wants to know how deep does he have to drill until he hits something, the so-called overburden, and then how much material is there. And in the end, they all want to know, of course, how much material is there in total. And these are the maps that we show for that, and you can probably not read that in this projection here. But we clearly identify points for sampling, and we identify points for drilling. Now this is the 3D ore body that we generate in 3D. And you will see this particular one in a concrete example on one of the next slides. Now, I said we do confirmation drilling. Here we have a gold project that is not in Africa, that was actually North America. A gold project that too had been researched and drilled for decades. The company that did that, or 3 companies in succession, went bankrupt because they couldn't finance the next round. And for the last one in that, the new one, the 4th one, we did this analysis. You see that the green lines, these are the drill holes. They just did the needle pricks, so to speak. That's what they said. And we could calculate with that and through that the real ore bodies going down below what they were drilling. They were only doing the American standard 21-foot bore drill. So we could calculate, and we found that they actually had 87% more gold there than they thought. Of course, they were happy. That is not always the result that we're getting. As I said, we're committed to Nigeria, and our CEO Oliver has been here with the German Chancellor 2 years ago now, and visited you, Honorable Minister, visited Ms. Shinkave from the Development Fund, and we have since founded a company, a subsidiary, or a joint venture, I must say, with Mr. Nazir Ubada, who sits over there, and Damiete Amakri, who will join us on the podium in a moment, is our CEO here. So we want to make sure that this is local, that you have local partners to talk with, people you know, people you trust, and we have a great relationship. And Mr. Wada has also authorized us to use 2 of his projects for examples, which I will show you now. So we were looking for pegmatite. Really, we were looking for lithium. And when you saw me walk up with a rock here, that's spodumene, the material that you love to find when you're looking for lithium. Just so that that you see this, we are looking for this from space. 3 minutes, I'll do it in 3 minutes. And so we do as we always did, prospectivity grid first. This is the grid that you see on the left. And the red is the very high prospectivity, and the less there is, the less prospective it is. And the GeoScan signal, which I showed you before, that's the blue bodies on the right. And if you look at the top right-hand corner, northeast for those who think in maps, that's where we found major ore bodies. Actually found 15 major ore bodies throughout the area. Interesting sideline, there is a lot more than these 15 ore bodies there. And there is lots of artisanal activity going on. And in one of the other panels, there is a discussion, or will be a discussion about industrial versus artisanal mining. In this case, they go together easily because the small places don't make sense to mine industrially. So that's where we tell the artisanals, you can go there, and it's much better for you to find the stuff there than to go wildcatting and looking and not finding something. Here, the light blue one in the middle is the one that you've seen before. Here it is again, and we did a surface sampling campaign, found outcroppings, even found beryl. We were finding pegmatite, clear pegmatite signals. We found beryl in there. We could not differentiate that from the satellite pictures at that time. We can now. So ground truthing has done that. We had scanned 4,000 square kilometers in 5 months at a price, at a time and at a price that would have been impossible with any other method. I'll just skip briefly through 2 other projects, then my 3 minutes will be up. Now, this is one that we did in Katsina State for Chemco. They will be joining us tomorrow. Similar thing, we started with the prospectivity grid. We started with the prospectivity grid, then went to the blue clouds, as they call it, and this all makes a lot of sense, and this too has been proven by sampling, and drilling campaign will start in a moment. You see the veins in here, and you see some of our team down there in the van. You have to give me 1 minute for this not switching. So finally, the Kogo project, again a project of Mr. Vadas, where said Nigerian mining company had been mining tin like 60 years ago, and we ran an analysis on that for us as a total greenfield. We did not know any of the data. While we were doing the satellite, Mr. Vadas' team from Eso Terra, and especially Professor Ibrahim Garba, who may be in the room but will be later, he dug out the results from then. So we did the full analysis. You see the squares from the prospectivity grid. You see the clouds. They overlap nicely, which is what we like to see. And then when we compare this with the drilling points, that's just the upper left corner, with the drilling points and with the drills, it fully confirmed that. And I can confidently state that this is a project from the beginning to the end, satellite analysis with everything, ground truthing, samples taken, drills made, and it is a significant find of tin and of copper and of a few others that lead too far. If I had 10 more minutes, I could show you some charts. We get letters of recommendation from satisfied customers. The dissatisfied ones don't write. So coming back to the initial question, making riches underground into wealth above. Ideally, with GeoScan, we can explore very large areas, scan large areas, then zoom in to the typically, it's again 3-4% of an area that makes sense going under. You've seen this in the Rahama Kaduna project. It's fast and it's proven. It reduces the groundwork tremendously. As I said earlier, drilling 90% less, and it's much faster decision to mine. You want to develop quickly, you don't have the 17 years that it traditionally takes from the first find to begin of mining. Probably not even the 7, and we have some projects here where we think we can, we've already cut that down to the decision to mine to 3 years from the first find, and we can do faster than that. So thank you very much. Sorry for running over. I have one last chart. I'll leave you with this one and with that one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Your blessings.